Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 30 of the Anime Banter podcast with your hosts, Turtle, Sean, and Mike. Thank you for joining us today. How are you guys doing?
Another week of talking anime with my buddies.
Oh yeah, I even have a beer for this week, so look at me go.
Slam a beer!
Delicious.
Gambling? I'm in!
Turtle029's beer of the week is Fathead's Bumbleberry. It's delicious.
A little too early for that segment.
Well, that's all I have to say about it is it's delicious. I'm drinking it.
Turtle said, screw the rules, I have beer.
Exactly.
Speaking of beer, anyone have any pumpkin beer this year?
Ooh, not yet.
I have not yet. I have a caramel pumpkin in my fridge waiting to be had.
Ooh.
And my brother-in-law and his wife were here a month or so ago, and they picked up a 6-pack of the Voodoo Ranger Atomic Pumpkin or whatever. And I was all excited to try one, and then I saw that it was one of those spicy pumpkin beers where it has like habanero and all types of that goofy shit in it. And I'm like, well, never gonna touch this because I hate spicy beer.
I don't like spicy anything.
There are people I know where, like, if it's not spicy, they're like, don't you like flavor? And I'm like, spicy does not equal flavor.
No.
There are plenty of flavor profiles that aren't just spicy. But I know some people who might say otherwise.
Heat is not flavor. And those peppers do, in fact, have flavor. But heat does not equal flavor. It is its own thing. It is heat. And I don't like heat.
I've tried a couple sips of like spicy beers, and all I taste is the heat. Like, I don't taste any of the beer. It's like, okay, well, how am I supposed to know if this beer is good or not if I can't tell what the beer tastes like besides fucking lava in my mouth?
Yeah, no bueno.
But I also have a regular pumpkin to drink in my place. But I guess, the reason I bring it up is because Halloween is fast approaching. And either you guys have any plans?
I don't. My buddy used to have a Halloween party, but that stopped during COVID and just hasn't been brought back. Plus, he has a kid now, so it's just a lot to take in for him to host a party and everything. So, no, not really. I'm not a big haunted house guy either. I'm not really into scary movies. I love all the fun stuff of Halloween. The trick-or-treating, now as an adult giving out candy, seeing everyone in costumes and everything. I like that. I like the fun part of Halloween.
Makes sense. Yeah, for me, like I already went to a Halloween party and it rocked. It was Alice in Wonderland themed. Had a great time, and then the wife is running a like immersive theater type of event, kind of like a LARP kind of immersive theater event before Halloween, like or around like like the weekend before Halloween, and then on Halloween I'm gonna be at the Stanley Hotel where The Shining takes place. So I'm going to Colorado, and it's gonna be a good time. My anniversary is November 1st, so we always, my wife and I are big Halloweeners, and we just go all out.
Well, happy anniversary in advance.
Thanks.
Yes, happy anniversary, and hope you guys have a great time.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good trip. Yeah, we might here at Anime Banter we may have a special show for you the week that I'm out. We might not. Haven't decided yet. Stay tuned. But also, I love like scary movies and stuff. Big fan of the new Chucky series. If that is controversial to you, then reach out to me on social media and I'll fight you.
Sean, have you watched that The Fall of the House of Usher show on Netflix yet?
I'm 6 episodes in, and I just haven't found the right time to finish the last 2. It is very good.
I'm very intrigued by it, just with it being all about like modernizations of Poe's work. So like I want to watch it, but I just feel like I have so much other stuff to watch that it's hard to like start a new show.
Well, Flanagan, the director.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he did The Haunting of Hill House, The Haunting of Bly Manor, Midnight Mass, Midnight Club, and now The Fall of the House of Usher. I've been a fan of every single one of his works. And he also was the director of the movie Doctor Sleep, which is a sequel to The Shining. And I've been a fan of like all the works of his that I've seen. So I'm just like every year that his new horror thing comes out, I get so hyped.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think I've heard of Doctor Sleep because I am not into horror movies at all. Isn't Ewan McGregor in that movie?
He is the main character.
Ah, okay, cool. Was that good?
Watch The Shining first, then watch that. Because it won't make a lot of sense if you just watch Doctor Sleep.
Did
Sure.
he have the high ground?
Uh,
I have the high ground.
I'm pretty sure most of the movie he had the low ground. Uh,
Oh wow.
uh, I'm gonna say he ended up with the high ground.
Okay, so he made it by the end of it.
Yeah, there's definitely fire, like the volcano scene. But he was not in a volcano.
Did he say hello there?
He might have.
Well, it's over, Anakin.
It's over, Anakin.
He didn't say that. Yeah, they have one really messed up, disturbing scene though in Doctor Sleep. It's pretty messed up. Let's just say the child actor was very, very good.
All right. I'll leave it at that because I don't do scary movies. They're not for me.
I'm more of a psychological thriller person than the jump scares are based on a true story.
Well, then Shining or Doctor Sleep might be more up your alley though, because those movies are both kind of a little more psychological. But yeah, the jump scare stuff, I get it. I'm not a huge slasher guy, even though I'm a big fan of Chucky. But I like Chucky because it's kind of campy and funny, so it's almost like horror comedy for me. I just have a dark sense of humor. Okay, well, enough of my messed up mind. You guys ready to get on with the show?
Let's do it.
I'm in.
Today we're talking about episodes 3 and 4 of Reborn as a Vending Machine. I now wander the dungeon. Episode 3, Rebuilding. Alright, so everyone heads back to the village after defeating the Frog King Fiend. And you think, wow, they're gonna like just go collect their money with the tongues and everything. But instead they see smoke coming from the village. Boxer tells Lamus to look forward and insert coins. And somehow they're able to piece that together.
I love how Lamus is just able to like the conversations between the two of them, how she's always able to like figure out what he's like trying to insinuate with his couple pre-constructed phrases.
You do have to get kind of creative when you can only say a couple phrases.
I get a good laugh out of it though every time.
They make it work. It's kind of like Lassie in the well, or like Timmy's in the well. Like Lassie comes running up, and they know Lassie's trying to say something, and like Boxo does like hello there, and or it insert coins, and Lamus is like, "What are you saying, Boxo? What are you saying? Good boy."
Carriel is stuck in the well again? All right, let's go.
This is the 6th time this week.
It's kind of how the show's trending. Uh, so when we get to the village, it's completely leveled. You're like, well, not completely, but it's pretty leveled, and you're like, dang, man, there must have been some real devastation here. They say there must have been an evacuation effort, so not all is lost here. We find out a two-headed snake is what destroyed the village. Karios and Girth survived the destruction. And we find out that, I guess, as it turns out, the village is in a dungeon, and the residents know that. So they show you like one of the houses. You undo like the shutters. There's just a bunch of crossbows like mounted to the windows, and you realize that this is probably not the first time this has happened. And that I just imagine like old ladies like firing off crossbow bolts at like the giant snake because they're like, well, oh, it's part of living in the dungeon.
Curse you, snake! Get off my lawn!
Box offers free goods to the village as a courtesy after the devastation. We found out that the two-headed snake is a predator of the frog fiends. Box was shocked to learn that the villagers actually eat the meat of the snake.
Has anyone eaten snake before?
I haven't, but I feel like isn't that like don't people eat snakes?
I've heard it tastes like chicken, but I've not had it myself.
I'm trying to remember if I have. I've had like frog legs and I've had gator. Have I had snake? I don't think so. Huh.
If any listeners have had snake, let us know. Tell us what it tastes like.
Oh yeah. So I just did a quick Google about people eating snakes, and in China they often eat snake soup recipes with python or water snakes.
Huh.
The indigenous people of Australia have bush meats that include snakes and especially pythons. And in the southwestern United States, rattlesnakes are often on the menu.
Interesting.
Learn something new every day.
I would definitely try it.
I would.
Okay, so Boxo giving away goods earlier drove up business and brought in new customers. So I guess some people who had never tried his goods before got a chance to try them. And then, as it turns out, Boxo has a sinister sounding laugh when he says, "Enjoy the freebies now because tomorrow he's going to be earning a ton of money." Lemus drinks a little too much alcohol and kind of like fondles Boxo a little bit. Yeah, she's like leaning against him, pressing her hand against him, and she's very, very invested in her relationship with the machine that can say 5 things.
I thought that scene was a little odd. And I was when I was watching this episode, I'm like, Boxa, you can't keep giving out free wares. Like you're gonna run out of points.
Have you seen his
Like
points from the last time they showed us, though? He's got like 1 billion.
that's true, but it's like eventually that like if you get stranded, you're sort of screwed. Like plus you could use those points to buy some sweet ass upgrades.
This is true.
And then when he's like, ah, yes, all this new business, I'm like, Boxo's just a sports book. He's like, oh, sign up for my. Here's a free drink, and here's two. Like, buy one drink, you get 200 free drinks, and then you use those free drinks, and all of a sudden you're gambling on like the Korean baseball league at 2 a.m.
How did we get here?
Well, we will definitely get to the gambling soon. But Boxo changes forms to a cup noodle machine. Um, it is a little questioning why he would switch forms to a cup noodles machine because he can just sell cup noodles in his regular form. But I guess I don't know. He just did maybe to give more variety.
I also
I don't know why.
wonder, like, once he buys a new form, does he have to like? Does he permanently have that so he could just keep changing into it for free, or like every time he changes forms, does he have to like spend the points on it to reacquire it?
That's a good question because I don't think they've touched upon that yet.
I mean, they definitely showed that like he did he buy an ability to be able to change form? Because if he bought an ability, he might not have to pay to do it. But then again, he bought barrier and he has to pay for barrier.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if they've talked about that. But the cup noodle machine, doesn't it have like hot water? So like you buy the noodles and then you get the hot water in there to make it?
Or maybe the base machine didn't have water you could add. Like it just heated up regular soup.
Yeah.
He could have just sold the water though, double dip his customers.
But it's cold water. You need hot water to make that.
Well, later in the next episode, he's going to reveal he can make hot water in a bottle. We'll get to that though. Lemus gets excited about a special request from Director Bear. It turns out it's a request to help the town. But Box was kind of disappointed about it. The rest of the village and the hunters believe Lemus is kind of a screw up because her blessing uh, causes like some issues for people in the village, and she can never hit enemies anyway. Uh, but people are shocked at how well she performs, like cleaning up the village. The scene cracks me up because she just carries a gigantic rock, punches it, and then like pushes a cart full of rubble by herself with no help needed. Boxo thinks that they should see the upside to it.
Yeah, the strength blessing is I mean, you would think that having basically unlimited strength, which is what it seems like Lamas has, because she has no difficulty lifting up these giant boulders that everyone else is like, wow, that's pretty ridiculous. You would think it would be really good, but I guess with her inability to actually hit anybody or monsters or anything, I guess the townspeople just kind of see her as a nuisance or useless. But I mean, that's having unlimited strength is it's a pretty good ability.
Not bad at all. Kirill arrives and offers to buy for everyone from Boxo. He's like, "It's on me." Lemus gets excited and wants some soup, but the other women of the village are like, "Whoa, hold up! If Kirill's buying, you got to get the good stuff. Like, get the best, most expensive item." And then Kirill feels a little taken advantage of, but he asks Lemus and Boxo to join the menagerie of fools. Lemus turns down the offer though because the village still needs cleaning up, so now's just not the time. A Cowie from the exchange house arrives and says that silver coins are running low. Boxo calls it disgraceful that someone's hoarding all the silver coins. And then he flips out when Lamus says he's the one holding the silver coins. And I did want to
I
bring this up.
I
Oh, go ahead.
lost it at that. Box was like, "How dare someone hoard all the silver coins? Who would do such a thing? What a dick!" And then he's like, "Oh, it's me. I'm the dick."
Lamus is just like, oh, it's probably Boxo. And he's like, why would you say that? Like, why does he get so mad?
Well, he doesn't want to be a detriment to the people of the town. But at the same time, we have to realize that we discussed this last episode. How people would be putting in money and he's consuming money instead of pumping it back into the economy.
We did.
Yeah, so like already he's lessening the money supply in existence, and it's already apparently causing a slight problem for the town.
The economy came to collect. Give me them coins back.
Pretty much, they were like, "So how do we get the coins out of this thing, right? Because these silver coins."
Lamus, flip it upside down and shake it. We need those coins back.
But Akawai's like, "Well, hold up. I have 100 gold coins, which what didn't he do the translation? It was like $100,000 or something like
It
that."
was 100,000 yen or give or take, because
Uh,
that's 100 silver coins is one gold coin.
Woo.
That's it. So like it's about it was like 100,000 yen, which is about about $1,000. This dude just walk around with $1,000 on his back, and they want to exchange the gold coin for silver coins, but it turns out he can just give like an unlimited amount of change. So like if they put the coin in and buy something, they'll get all the silver coins and change. So they were indeed able to get their silver coins back and bought a bunch of useless junk from a vending machine.
I really like the idea of them putting in one gold coin to buy one item and for Boxo to spit out 99 silver coins as they just stand there and wait to collect it.
It was a funny visual. But here we go, possibly the best character in the show. The hunter who tried to get those coins out of Boxo last episode is back. And he's looking real mischievous when he sees the currency exchange happening. Obviously, this guy's a crook. He's looking to make a quick buck. I kind of love this guy as a potential recurring gag.
I was gonna say, I bet this guy's gonna be in like at least every other episode to try to cause some shenanigans and fail miserably.
It's like, how can I try and steal from Boxo this time? He becomes like the Team Rocket.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the old serial villains where they just like every episode they try to this diabolical scheme and they fail every time to the hero. That's this guy.
I mean, to be fair, he's kind of made it in. If you count the next episode, he's made it in 3 out of 4 episodes. But who knows if we'll be seeing him much after that. The next episode. Oh, and here we go back to the sports book theory. A random old villager is apparently trying to win a reward from Boxo. This is another one where we talked last episode, and we're like, one of his things he says is that you could win a prize, and we're like, how? How does one win a prize? This old guy shows up. He's trying to win a reward from Boxo, and apparently the numbers spin and he gets a 776 instead of 777. Apparently, Boxo added a digital lottery function has increased sales by 30%, which is insane. But yeah, now people can win a prize. You gotta love, I don't know, you just gotta love this scene because I'm like, oh, if there wasn't a gambling addiction in town before, it certainly is here now.
This just makes me like have to wonder, Sean, you've been to Japan. Do they actually have vending machines with a lottery system in it to get a free extra item?
So if they do, I did not explore them. That is for sure.
That's pretty wild to me that even exists.
I love how it was an old person who was gambling at Boxo. Cause it's like, oh, who like when you picture people playing slot machines, like what age group do you picture? It's often the elderly, like the retired elderly, chain smoking and pulling the lever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's true.
it always makes me so sad walking through a casino and seeing all of the elderly like playing the slot machines for like hours on end. It's like, don't
That's
you
my
have like
retirement money.
grandkids to spoil or something?
Oh, the grandkids don't come in till tomorrow. I got the rest of the day.
Yeah, I wonder about that too. But you never know. Not everyone has grandkids. Not everyone lives in the same city as their family. And unfortunately, see, okay, so if I retire someday, I'm saying if I get to retire, I believe that I will have no problem keeping busy. I will always find something to do because it's just who I am. But I legitimately know people like my parents' age who if they're retired, I'm kind of worried for them because like I think they actually won't know what to do with themselves because the only thing that they do is like work, come home, watch TV, and drink beer. And if you remove work, they're gonna drink beer and watch TV, and that's it.
We're in a unique age group where when we get to retire, like we have video games.
Gosh, I hope our thumbs still work.
Oh, I know. How awful would that be?
Yeah, I know people like our age who are starting to get like carpal tunnel because they like all they do is PC. Yeah, you get home from work and you do PC gaming. So like you work at a computer, you do PC gaming and you're your computer for like 16 hours a day.
Arthritis, that could cause all kinds of issues everywhere. But like, yeah, can you imagine? Like, I finally have all this time that I can play these video games, and my hands don't work. Oof. But we're in that this weird age group that like when we retire, we have at least video games that we can mess with. But there's a lot of people out there who are retirement age now, or like getting close to, where like you said, Sean, like they work. So when you take that away, I mean, I do know there are people who like you'll get a part-time job, work a couple days a week to bring in a few extra bucks just to keep yourself busy. But
Yeah, I get that.
not me. I'm going to be one of the people who's locked on my couch just playing games. Like, man, I bought this game 60 years ago. I've never left the package. I can finally play it now.
I'm not exactly convinced a lot of people in our age range will get to retire.
That
Not to
that's
people,
another
but
thing. That's a scary
yeah.
thing, but that's true.
We go to the next scene. This is probably the most awkward scene from the entire show so far. Uh, Director Bear asks for to speak with like Lamus and Boxo, and he asks Lamus to leave the room, and Lamus says, "I'll wait downstairs. Let's talk to Boxo privately." And he says, there's apparently an influx of new residents who are showing up to the town, and Boxo is going to be a great help in taking care of any potential food shortage. But Director Bear is kind of worried about things like hygiene and potential population boom in other ways. Uh, so Director Bear asks for someone named Shirley to come in. Now, if I'm correct, we met Shirley to this
I
point.
don't think so.
I don't
Yeah,
think
she's
so
like
either.
she just like shows up out of nowhere, and they give her like the anime Pretty Woman sparkly treatment. Uh, So Boxo's like, man, she's really pretty, but I think I know what Director Bear's talking about. And he transforms into a condom machine. I never thought we'd see something like this in our wholesome show about vending machines and teenage adventures and stuff like that. Um, but I had to pause. I had to write this down. The brand of condom is Skin, Skin, and it also says hyper hard natural skin, whatever the heck that means.
Means whatever you
Uh,
want it to mean.
and they cost 10 silver coins apiece. Uh, which is like, dang man, it's like probably 1 silver for that bottle of water. But Director Bear and Shirley have absolutely no idea what these things are. But apparently it comes with instructions, and they're like, yes, yes, I see. And then they decide to buy in bulk and pass them out the entertainment district.
Safety first.
I was not
Yeah.
expecting this scene at all. Like this was a complete surprise. And then when they were like trying to figure out how to use them, it felt like high school health class all over again. The only thing missing was a banana.
I was thinking he should have vended them a banana so they could practice. Yeah, pretty awkward scene. I hope that someone didn't think this was like a funny show and decide to watch with their kids and then have to have like a very um tough conversation afterwards.
I mean, I feel like they did it in such a way where it's like, don't worry about it. You know, like the adults get it, the
They
kids
weren't
won't.
too specific.
Yeah, if they weren't like talking about like how to like put the condom on and everything and how to use it, it'd been one thing. But they're like, oh, it's so stretchy and gooey, and what's this weird like substance and feels odd, and like they were
Yeah, I forgot they
stretching
did
it and
that.
like they were stretching them all out and about and everything.
That's where she reads the directions. She's like, oh, I get it. Okay, this is cool. Good idea.
At least Director Bear didn't, whip it out and give us a demo.
He's like, how's this work?
Yeah, but they're not made for bears, so I, hope there aren't going to be any issues.
I have no comment on that.
Let's move on, shall we?
Next.
So Swari, can't remember how to pronounce her name. Swari, I think. The young girl they saved in the alley in episode 1 shows back up. Last time, uh, she walked up to Boxo and he said hello there, and she like freaked out and ran away. Apparently, she tries to stuff rocks into Boxo, but Boxo stops her. She's missing her father, mumbling that he was supposed to come home today. Boxo offers her a free drink. She's confused by the nice gesture. I still have no idea where this subplot is going.
We'll find out in episode 12.
Yeah, I guess we get a
I feel
little
like
bit more.
we get some backstory.
Yeah, is that
Like,
next episode?
I think it's the end of this episode. Like
Oh
how
yeah, it
she's
is.
rich and everything.
These type
But
of
like we,
shows, they always have like these little subplots that are kind of hidden. And I feel like they'll start to build them up toward the end of the season, but then never like resolve it because it's like, oh, well, that'll happen in season 2 or later in the book, and then there is no season 2, so it never happened, so it's left unresolved.
Could happen here. Oh, but next scene, Shirley and Lamus are just naked in the bathhouse, kind of like out of nowhere. And he's like, "Well, it's not my fault I can't move." Apparently, Lamus just brought him to the bathhouse, where he sells shampoo and conditioner. Uh, he's like, "It's just a coincidence that I'm stocked up on these items." I'm like, "Sure it is, Boxo. Sure it is." Um,
they really ramped up the horniness all of a sudden.
yeah, there's like no horniness in episodes 1 and 2.
Like one and
Episode
two,
3
they're like,
brought
oh,
it.
very wholesome. Like such a nice show. And then like this episode and the next episode, they're like, horny, 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 horny.
I mean, can we acknowledge the fact that, anime tends to have some level of horniness in every show?
I
Like
mean,
not
to
every,
be
but it's
fair, we
pretty
didn't
close.
really. I don't think we had any horny in Trigun Stampede or Vinland.
Well, I mean, Vinland has some shots of naked men and women, so they're
Yeah,
brief, but they're kind of there. Trigon didn't really have anything. I'll give you that one.
I mean, I don't really consider those scenes horny.
I mean, all the ladies, you get to see them naked dudes bathing in the stream. Maybe that's turning them on. I don't know.
Maybe, but I mean, that was more of a. This is when the assault happened.
Yeah,
When
but
they were
there's like
bathing.
that 10 seconds before the assault. You know, I'm just
Yeah.
saying
They also
it's
didn't
an
get like the
element.
horny. They didn't get the horny glitz and glamour and like the sparkles and shit.
That's definitely, I think, more of like a modern anime type thing where they do that. Where,
The
Vinland
Thorfinn's
Saga
sister,
trying to be more
though.
grounded.
Thorfinn's sister, every man in the village was simping for Thorfinn's sister.
That is true.
I mean, she did look like the only woman that was like over the age of 8
Well, what was
and
that
under
other
the age
girl
of
who
like
was
60.
hitting on one of the guys before they sailed off?
Oh yeah.
She looked about of age.
Yeah, but Thorfinn's sister was like the hottest one, probably. I don't know. That's my guess.
But there's elements there.
Yeah, there's
That's
some
all I'm saying.
small elements. Honestly, the show's probably a little more gay than it is straight. There's a lot of male bonding.
That's true. I won't deny that.
Yeah, like if there isn't some undertones for like a future Thorfinn and Canute thing, I'm like, yeah, I could kind of see it.
Somebody's probably shipping that on the internet somewhere.
I mean, like if you watch Berserk and like Guts and Griffith stuff,
Oh
like there's
man.
a whole scene where they're just like splashing each other naked. Like, come on,
Yeah. Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's definitely some homoeroticism in Berserk. Um, I'm sure there's some very manly fans of the podcast out there mad at me saying that, but good gosh, watch the scenes.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely there. There's a lot of other elements that I'm not going to go into because this is not about Berserk.
It's
But
not.
there's a whole lot of everything in that show, good and bad.
Yeah.
But it's
Yep.
it's a great series though. It really is. It's written really well.
Yep. But Chainsaw Man had enough horniness for us all. But I guess back to the show. So let's see. Oh, there are more animal people. Director Bear is really the only one we'd really seen this part. So far. But two more naked furries walk in, and they also buy shampoo. So here we go. More naked people. Some bath enjoyment. Oh, and then here's one thing, and something that I don't know if you guys know about this, but in anime, after someone gets out of the hot spring or takes a bath, they always drink milk for some reason. And like when I was in the onsen, like I went to like the public bath in Japan, like I didn't drink milk afterwards. Like maybe I was wrong. Guess I did it wrong.
I never thought to try that, but it just seems kind of strange to me,
I've never gotten out of the shower and craved milk before.
right? Maybe it's good. I don't know.
I never even had a shower beer.
I've not done that either.
I don't think I have either. I don't. I'm too worried that the hot water would just like warm it up too much and it would get nasty.
You just got to drink it faster. That's all.
Yeah, I think that is the solution.
I think that's the point. You just pound it, then the hot water it gets in your system quicker.
But yeah, look, so we exit the bathhouse and Boxo's back in town. Honestly, this episode is kind of weird because it hopped around a lot.
It did.
Just like different locations. I feel like that's probably just the way the story was written because I think it's a light novel. But like it just seemed like a bunch of small scenes chopped together as opposed to one cohesive episode. And the old gambling man's back with his granddaughter. And turns out the granddaughter wins a free item. Grandfather's mad that he never wins anything. As she claims her prize, he says that she can't ride that high all day. It's kind of sad that you won at the end of the day. I thought that was like a weird statement. He's like, oh, like you only get to be excited for like another hour or two before you go to bed. And I was like, how is that? Like, you can be excited tomorrow too. It's just like a weird statement. Um, but she's like, well, I'm not happy because I won. I'm happy because I have my grandparents and my mom. And it's like, oh, how wholesome. Boxo's like, did I rig it? I'll leave it up to you to decide.
A couple of things here. There is a surprising amount of fourth wall breaking in this episode and next episode. And then like the whole grandpa thing, just it was a strange scene.
I really liked the granddaughter. She was really cute. She, got her free prize. She gave it to her grandpa. She's happy to be there to see them again. It was a real It was a real wholesome moment, and it made me feel good. I liked it.
They were trying to redeem themselves from the horniness of the condom machine in the bathhouse.
It's so weird because it's like it has these wholesome moments in the beginning, and then this horniness in the middle, and then this wholesome at the end. It's like, what the hell was this episode?
Yeah, the horny wholesome switch, guys. You gotta like lead me one direction. Like you can't be flipping it around like that. But we get to another scene where director Bear, again out of nowhere, asks Boxo for another favor. Can you camouflage with your surroundings? He asks Boxo to stake out an area where a lot of crimes have taken place. While camouflaged, uh, Swarry shows up, and she's mad that he's not there, and she says he's a big stupid jerk for not being around for a drink. She runs into Lamus and calls her the booby monster.
I gotta laugh out of that so bad. And it's like, wait, it's not even like she has like anime sized ginormous boobs. Like they're pretty proportional.
The normal anime sized boobs, not like the big anime boobs.
Yeah.
But here's where we get to Swarry's, the Swarry plotline's moving forward, and she's like, Lamus, I'm gonna buy Boxo from you. Obviously, Lamus really likes Boxo and says, number one, he's not really like mine to sell, because like, he's kind of like a person. He has like a soul, and Swarry just doesn't really like that answer. She explains how rich her family is, and I think that this sounds weird, but like she talked about her dad not being around, and I'm like, for some reason, is she going to see this vending machine as a father figure, even though he's literally had no interaction with her pretty much? Because I feel like this is where this is going.
She just wants a friend.
My dad isn't around. This vending machine will take his place. Not how that works. But that wraps this episode.
And what an episode it was.
Yeah, this episode had all kinds of stuff. It took us a really long time to get through it because of how many like small individual scenes there were.
This episode had a lot of like the B plot, C plot, D plots. The next episode is just A plot.
This definitely feels like it was a couple smaller chapters that were just crammed into an episode just to put it there.
Meanwhile, I actually like this episode better than the next one.
I was
Oh,
sort of
really?
thinking the same.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Like
kind of like the next one.
I like the next one, but it's like I don't. We'll get into it. I don't
Yeah,
want to
we'll
spoil
get
it.
there. We'll get
We'll
there.
get there after Mike's Beer of the Week.
And now it is time for Mike's Beer of the Week. So this week it's actually not a beer. I make my own rules. So as the two of you know, I lost my dad a couple years ago on Halloween. So in honor of his 2-year trip of being gone, I would like to say my beer of the week is a Captain and Coke. This was my dad's favorite drink whenever we would go to a pit football game or just be watching a game at home or whatever. It was often his beer, his drink of choice. So yeah, this week my choice is Captain and Coke. Miss you, Dad. Wish you were still here. For those of you with your parents and grandparents still around, give them a hug. Tell them you love them because it really sucks when they're gone. Sorry for the downer this week, but yeah, Captain and Coke, 5 stars. They are pretty delicious whenever I do have them. It's not very often, but when I do, they are pretty tasty.
Episode 4. Boxo is abducted. So, apparently, Boxo has been kidnapped by Gargoyle, the hunter who tried to rob him. So, I guess that guy has a name.
He does now.
I love how his name is Gargoyle. It's like, oh, in case you couldn't tell that this guy was sort of a dick or like evil or menacing, we're gonna give him like a menacing name like Gargoyle, not like Jeff or Steve.
Yeah. He's just always going to be like look at the corner of a building looking around to watch what's going down to then make his move on Boxo to try to steal his money. I'm telling you, this guy's going to be in like almost every episode going on.
And what if this one, if they actually give us this guy's fate? I think they don't show him at the end of the episode, so it may not be the last we see of Gargoyle. But we'll get to that, I guess. But his friends are like, hey, it's a request from Director Bear to help fix the walls. Boxo, kind of just like wanting to be like a helpful, useful citizen, uh, is like, oh yeah, like we're going to help Director Bear. So along their way, they tell him to spit out the goods or else. Gargoyle tried to steal from him. Oh, wait, hold up. Is Gargoyle our guy, or is Gargoyle like the leader of the group?
Gargoyle is the recurring character. We never get
Okay,
a name for the leader of the group of thieves.
kind of weird because that guy felt like a much bigger deal than Gargoyle did.
That's sort of what I was thinking too.
He was kind of like competent. Like what he was doing, like he's like, hey guys, don't be like he's like, I swear if you break this machine, I'm gonna kill you. It's like the guys are kind of like I don't know if I'd say scared of him, but like they respect their leader. But the leader says they're after the coins inside. The box is probably worth a lot too. They're like, well, can we beat him up to get him to spit out the stuff? And they're like, yeah, I guess. Apparently, he's proven that he can heal. Gargoyle knows that. But if they break him, there'll be heck to pay. I tell ya, heck. So the beatdown happens. They're just it's like when you're watching wrestling and there's just like three dudes just wailing on someone in the corner, just stomping them, and feel kind of bad. But he finds out he can use his points to increase his stats, so he increases his durability a little bit so they don't do as much damage. Boxer then offers the one of them juices in his 10 worst products for free. And then the guy like drinks the juice and he's like, this is terrible. And Boxer's like, haha, got him.
Revenge.
I just love how like, all right, well, I'm a vending machine. How can I like stop this and get my vengeance? I know. I'll give him this shitty herbal like tea that nobody likes.
This whole sequence, just the fact that Boxo is like, oh, Director Bear wants my help, even though he didn't come and ask me for help. I'm gonna follow these guys, and among these guys is clearly this guy who's assaulted me before. I'll go with them. This
I,
whole thing is just like it's really dumb.
yeah, that's sort of what I was thinking too. Like, hold on, Boxer. Like, meanwhile, the last episode, Director Bear came to you like multiple times, like, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? And then this episode, you're like, oh, well, it must be fine because Director Bear wasn't around, so it's obviously fine, and I should totally trust these guys and this guy that just tried to rob me multiple times.
I think there's even a point where he's like, "Wow, this is incredibly suspicious," but I'll go along.
That's,
What am I watching?
don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
It's so dumb.
And like I wouldn't go anywhere without Lamis because like Lamis obviously like takes personal responsibility for Boxo. If you go with random people, who knows if they're ever going to bring you back?
Yeah, another thing that's like the red flag is Director Bear has always come up to Lamis and Boxo like, "Hey, can I get your help?" And he's just like, "Oh, sure, I'll help you, random people, including this one dude who's assaulted me before."
Or like Lamis will take him somewhere like, hey, I have to do this. I'm going to leave you with these people. I'll be back. Like, just like what? It, a lot of like this episode, not to jump too far ahead, was like, all right, we need to get from point A to point B somehow, so we're just gonna throw some random shit at the wall.
Yeah, we're just gonna have Boxo be really dumb right now.
At the same time, when you grow up and you're a privileged member of society, you do not always see everyone as an enemy. If Boxo had been a woman in a previous life, there's no way she would have gone with a bunch of strange men. 0% chance. But growing up a man in predominantly in Japan, as a Japanese man in Japan, he had nothing to worry about. So that's his Japanese male privilege that he is not used to having. Or he doesn't have that privilege anymore. Can't go everywhere safe. Now he's a vending machine. Maybe that's a bit too much for this podcast. I don't know.
We're getting real deep when it comes to Reborn as a vending machine.
Well, he's not really part of the patriarchy anymore. He can't, isn't really a guy. So
He went from a human male to a piece of machinery.
Saying hello there.
Hello there.
Hello there.
he's like one step away from being a slave. Like straight up. Like that's what these people want to do. They're just gonna be like, give me your money, give me the stuff inside. That's all he's good for, man. The question is, when does he turn into an ATM? Not really a vending machine.
I mean,
Cash vending machine.
it's a form of vending, but instead of, products, you're acquiring money. So maybe he can turn into an ATM.
I guess we'll find out later.
Or maybe like a change machine.
It's kind of like a vending machine, yeah. I do wonder what the limitations are, and we learn a few more potential limitations or interesting things he can turn into in a bit. But now we get to, let's see, Hulumi. The thieves end up bringing Boxo to Hulumi, which is how convenient, because Lamus was going to take Boxo to Hulumi anyway. But apparently they kidnapped Hulumi and they kidnapped Boxo, and they're like, Hulumi, you know all the stuff about magic items. Get all the coins out of this guy.
This felt very like, oh, we only have 12 episodes for this season. We need to figure out a way to smush all this story in. Plot convenience, go.
I feel like that they wanted Boxo and Hulami to meet, but not through Lamis because that's just too easy. So they came up with this really weird kidnapping mechanic in order to make that happen, but that just doesn't make sense. But this is the part that they wanted to get to. So this is the kidnapping exists so Boxo and Hulami could meet before Lamis knows, or before Lamis could introduce them. So
Here's where anime is despicable. This is very obviously becoming a harem anime. This vending machine is going to have a harem of women when there are men who have zero women. Like, could you imagine? Now, to be fair, the vending machine offers a lot that a normal man can't. Like always has snacks and drinks, right? Really good listener. Can provide you with shade if you're outside.
A barrier to keep you safe.
Yeah, barrier to keep you safe. So I mean, yeah, there are things that Boxo can't provide. That some guys just can't.
I cannot generate a barrier. It's sad, but it's true. I cannot do it.
I do not always have warm and cold drinks plus food on me. All right, well, enough about that. Hulu and Boxer become friends fast. Or fast friends, I should say. Boxo offers her a free drink. She's able to deduce that Boxo's magic item with a human soul. Boxo remembers his time as a human, and Hulumiri learns all about Boxo. It's kind of a reminder to the viewers of what Boxo's learned about himself so far. Like it's almost like a recap of his abilities.
I was sort of thinking the same thing during this scene. It almost felt like Hulami was a proxy for the viewer here. It's like, hey, in case you missed anything from the past couple episodes about Boxo, here's a recap of what he can and can't do.
Yeah, that was a little boring to me because I remembered everything.
Yeah, and it'd be one thing if this was like in episode 2, before we have seen like, oh, Boxo can do X, Y, and Z, and he's done X, Y, and Z multiple times.
But while we are used to it already, Hulumi thinks it's awesome. And Boxo says that all he did was die and get this awesome vending machine body. Is he really that much happier as a vending machine?
This was the second time this show made me facepalm.
I mean, I know some people who might actually be happier as a vending machine. I probably name like 2.
I'm definitely not one of
That's not me.
them.
Like, this dude's a vending machine. I'm just throwing this out there. I think this dude had like a vending machine fetish. Like, he was willing to die for one. Like, he became one and he's thrilled. Like, And then he reveals a little bit later. He's like, "Oh, with my extensive knowledge of vending machines, like he is able to get himself out of a couple jams." And I'm like, "Yeah, this dude definitely wanted to bang a vending machine.
Who's to say he hasn't done so already?
You could buy one for your house."
He probably had several.
Who are we to yuck his yum?
I'm just saying that he could have done so. I'm not throwing shade. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
it's not illegal, So I
It's
mean,
true. It's not my thing, but hey.
yeah, like we don't necessarily kink shame on the Anime Banter podcast unless it's something illegal. So like I guess it's okay, but not what I'm into.
Just not our cup of teas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not my glass of beer.
So for some unknown reason, Gargoyle and his friends, I guess they're just bored. Like, hey, let's just like wail on Hulumi while she's sleeping. That'll be fun. Let's just like beat her with like a sock full of pennies or something. I don't know. So another eyebrow raising moment of this series. Last episode was the condom machine. This episode was the nudie magazine machine. So he turns into that. Gargoyle and his friends uh, obtain nudie mags, and they're like, I gotta go return some videotapes, or
They're all like, I need to go back to my room. Yeah, I need to go grab some stuff too. It's like,
Then the one guy's like, I gotta go to the bathroom.
yeah.
This whole scene was just like, what the hell? It's pretty ridiculous. It did make me laugh.
Leave me alone, I'm baiting.
I left a turkey in the oven. I gotta go.
So show's definitely hornier than we thought it was gonna be when we started it. To be fair, listeners, we did no vetting of this show. So this
No.
happens when you let Sean decide the show. Zero vetting is done. Usually it's gonna be a joke. Just so I told the guys, I'm like, you sure you want me to pick? And they're like, yeah, go for it. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And this is what I came up with. So.
If you would have asked me on a scale of 1 to 10 how horny this show would have been, I would have said a -5.
Yeah, I would have given it like a 2. I'm like, oh, okay. I always assume there's going to be a harem. So I was like, there's probably going to be a harem. So maybe like a 2 or a 3. That's where my guess was.
I don't know. If I had to pick, I probably would have guessed like a 4 or a 5. Because, I mean, you have a show that's about a dude who's reincarnated as a vending machine. Like, you got to throw some titties in there or something. I mean, like this.
It's a way to get people to actually watch this stuff.
Right? I mean, like, I am a fan of isekai shows. I like the dumb, shut your brain off. Even I saw this title and I'm like, that looks too dumb for me. I'm not going to watch it. So, I mean, you got to at least put something in there.
That's true. And isekai shows are notorious for the boobies.
Yeah, they like to use these harem elements for
The
sure.
fan service, yeah. Yeah, they're all a harem. They're all fan service filled. And this actually is less fan servicey than most of the ones that I've seen.
It's true.
So,
And there are some genuine wholesome moments in here, which are nice. But then there's, this stuff. I don't know.
well, the boss comes back and he gives Hulumi 2 days to figure out how to get Boxo's money. He doesn't specify what's going to happen after that, but they're probably just going to like kill her or something. I don't know. They don't really say what they're going to do. We leave it to your imagination. Boxo offers Hulumi all types of food after she gets terrible food from the thieves. She said they always give her the trash food. While she's researching, see, I thought this was actually kind of rude. She was like thankful for it, but I was like, no, dude, this is rude. He's like, oh, her hair looks all scraggly. Let me give her some hot water and shampoo. And Hulumi's like, oh my gosh, Boxo, this is so nice of you, and stuff like that. But when you think about it, you ever been a man and tell a woman that her hair looks like scraggly and greasy? You just don't do that. And that's pretty much what he did here. Obviously, show's written by a man. No way a woman would allow this to happen.
I mean, to be fair, she's been kidnapped for God knows how long. At least he was trying to provide her some comfort of proper hygiene, which she's been denied by her captors.
Dude should just turn into a makeup machine and drop some makeup down there and been like, you could use some honey.
Oh, wow.
Look at those split ends. Drop the hairbrush. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little too harsh.
I don't think Boxo meant to be harsh. She was just, like, man, she's been here for who knows, like a week or more, and they don't let her bathe. Least I could do is, get her to wash her hair a little bit, make her feel a little better. It's coming from a positive place.
Yeah, I guess.
That's what I took from it anyway.
Written by a man, that's all I have to say.
And I am a man, so what do I know?
Exactly.
I don't know shit.
Yeah. But on a dark note, Hulumi also reveals to Boxer that she has grown numb to the fear of death. And she's ready to die at a moment's notice. So I'm like, dang, man, this prisoner stuff really broke her.
She's been there for like 2 days.
I wasn't sure if she was numb from being a prisoner of what the hell was going on. But it's like, oh shit, this is dark.
She's been captive for like 2 days. I can't survive in the outside world anymore. I'm ready to die.
The show's like, all right, we had the wholesome last episode. We had the horniness. Now let's get real fucking dark. Let's go.
So the next scene, though, things escalate incredibly fast. Like, apparently, obviously the town would realize that Boxo's missing pretty quickly. So they end up on the trail, I guess, of the thieves, and they invade the thieves' hideout. And so Boxo wakes up Hulumi. Uh, Hulumi's like, hey, these thieves are stashing gold on the floor above us. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. The thieves might have a stash of gold. She's like, by the way, there's also a bomb in the storehouse right next to the gold. And I was like, excuse me? There's a what there? Like, I don't know. I don't know about you, man. Number one, I don't think I would store my bomb next to my gold.
Seems like a bad idea.
Yeah. But hey, of course, for even then, for whatever reason, I don't know if the thief set it off or it was just part of the fighting. I don't know why the fighting would cause this. It's not like people are slinging fire, but apparently the bomb just goes off. Uh, no explanation as to why.
Convenient plot point. Whoa.
Drama.
Yeah, this is like the part in the romance anime where like they get stuck on an elevator, and yeah, they're like, oh no, when will someone come save us? And they like cuddle up, like that kind of thing, or they get like locked in the gym equipment room, and they're like, whoa, I hope someone will come open this gym equipment door because for some reason we're locked inside when doors aren't actually made that way. That's what this kind of reminded me of. But the bomb goes off. Boxo puts up the barrier for Hulumim, and they obviously know that the barrier takes money. Hulumim points out there's the bag of gold. Once again, the gold was next to the bomb. It was still pretty much entirely in a bag except for one teeny tiny tear. Boxo gets the gold, and Hulumi goes on a spending spree and just starts dumping gold coins into Boxo and getting a bunch of free drinks, I guess. In the next part, Boxer realizes that Hulumi is suffocating. There is apparently so much rubble that's blocking the airflow in and out of the barrier. So he's like, I have this great knowledge of vending machines, and in the '60s or whatever, there was a oxygen machine vending machine where people could buy oxygen. So I'm gonna transform into that, and it does save her. And Hulumi tells Box that if he was human, she wouldn't be able to stop herself from falling for him.
So in these 2 episodes, we got wholesome, we got horniness, we got darkness, and we got a history lesson. How about that?
There's a lot to unpack from these 2 episodes. But the next the biggest thing is that there are at least 2 to 3 women in Boxer's harem. Lamis, Hulumi, and potentially Rich Girl, Sworry. So yeah, Boxo just reels in the women. But then we hear Lamis's voice. She falls on Boxo, dealing like 25 damage to him, which I feel like is a lot. Wasn't he getting stabbed with knives and taking like 4 damage? I don't know.
Yeah, he wasn't taking a lot of damage from like getting beaten by like clubs and knives and shit. But Lamis falling on him does 25 damage. It's like it wasn't like she fell that far.
Like, she has the strength blessing. Does that mean that she's heavy? Like, that didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, that's sort of. It's like, wait, she has strength blessing to make her be able to lift things. Doesn't make her heavier though.
I didn't get that one either. But Lamis cries tears of joy that Box is okay. She reunites with her friend Hulumi, and Kirill reveals that he has dreams and believes it's best if Boxo owes him one, and that's why he went after Boxo. So I guess we're gonna see Kirill scheming at some point, maybe. So all in all, what'd you guys think of this episode?
Oh boy.
It's weird because it felt like there was like it felt like a lot of stuff happened because it was only the main story, but like at the same time, it also felt like a lot of stuff didn't happen. If that makes sense. Like this almost would have felt better as like episode 2, I think, where it's like, oh hey, in case you forgot, Boxo can do these things. Whenever like Hulumi was finding out what all he could do, um, and then it's just a lot of like convenient plot points in this episode.
To me, I feel like a lot of these, one season isekai type shows, they feel like there's a lot of like filler elements in them. Nobody likes that word filler, but especially like for episode 3, I feel like nothing in there was really like important to like progress the story forward. Um but at least with episode 4 here, we do get to meet a new, what I assume is a reoccurring character in Hulumi. So I don't know. I liked episode 4 a little bit more because I liked Hulumi. I thought she's an interesting character. But eh, that's about where I'm at with this show. Is
I do like how we can turn our brain off for it. Like, it's not like, oh, what's the next? Like, I'm excited. Like, it's like, cool, let's watch the next episodes. But it's not like I have to like be deep in thought and remember a ton of plot points with this show.
that is my favorite thing about this genre. Is you just shut your brain off and watch. It's like, okay, whatever, go with the flow.
The real question is, how much horniness will be in the next 2 episodes?
It's a good question. Uh, don't know if I'm rooting for more or less.
And will there be a female vending machine for Boxo to fall in love with?
Holy
Whoa!
crap, that would be wild. But all these other women would be jealous. Human women jealous of a female vending machine. Well, that's enough ridiculousness for one week. And now it is time for Waifu of the Week. Turtle, who's your Waifu of the Week?
This week I'm going with Hulumi. I thought she was an interesting character. I like her character design, and she uses deductive reasoning to figure out what Boxo's all about, to figure out that there's a soul trapped within this vending machine. And she's quick to pick up on his already used code with Lamis, and she's able to figure stuff out and, do some deductive reasoning to figure out what's up with Boxo. So I just thought she was an interesting character, and she shows intelligence with, pretty much nobody else in the show has shown so far. That the whole beginning of this episode shows to me that Boxo is not intelligent either. So I got this week. I'm going with Hulumi.
Good pick. Mike, who you have for us? Waifu of the Week.
I'm finding it hard to find waifus of the week with this show. Hulumi was a good pick. I was considering her. I was considering Boxo, but just how dumb he was to start episode 4, I couldn't pick him. So, when all else fails, you go Sabat and you pick Director Bear.
Oh yeah.
Totally get it. I actually considered Director Bear because you realize that this dude's holding the village together. Like, he has a lot of ideas about, like, like, he's like asking Boxo to stake out he's handling crime. He's planning out like worries about like disease and hygiene, and like
He's learning how to use
overpopulation.
condoms.
Yeah, he just learned how to use condoms. So like, the guy is very intelligent. So I totally get why you pick him. I picked Boxo because he's the only person who's primarily featured in 2 episodes. No, and I guess he bailed Hulumi out, but also Hulumi was only there because of Boxo in the first place. So I don't know. It was a rough week. I agree to choose a wife of the week because like none of the I didn't like love any of the characters, but who knows? Maybe Hulumi will grow on me soon. Thanks everyone for joining us this week as we watch Reborn is a Vending Machine. I now wander the dungeon. I hope that you'll join us next week for episode 31 of the Anime Banter podcast, where we will watch episodes 5 and 6 of Reborn as a Vending Machine. I now wander the dungeon. Gotta find a way to shorten that. Please give us a 5-star review on all the platforms that allow reviews. If you're listening on YouTube, please like the video, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Turtle, you have anything you want to plug?
You can find me on my YouTube channel, RPG Treasure Trove. Check it out.
Mike, anything you want to give a shout out to or a plug?
Follow us on the socials. Leave those reviews. Tell your friends. Check out Turtle's RPG Treasure Trove. And check out Sean's Deepin Files. I'm a very basic person. I don't do a lot of other content creation outside of this.
That's okay. You don't have to. But you can also listen to the Demon Files with me. I haven't shown up in this season yet of the episode of the Demon Files, but my character will be showing up. So please keep listening in season 2, and the episodes are coming out as we speak. The Anime Banter podcast can be found on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you all for joining us, and we will talk to you next week.